Hello everyone, welcome back to Faewood Mead, or welcome to Faewood Mead. If this is your first time here, hello, thanks for joining us. Today I am going to be starting a Blackberry Apple Almond Mead. At this point, I kind of I'll take a specific ingredient that I want to use. Like for example, I have this huge thing of blackberry juice. I'm gonna have to figure out how to use the rest of this. I don't know. So in here, I do have 1 pound of sliced frozen apples. These apples are still de-thawing. They are still a bit frozen. I did have this in some warmed water for a bit, but freezied apples. So I'm gonna pour in some of the hot water. Sanitized a pot, cleaned, sanitized. I'm gonna do this for a second here. Oh boy, that is steaming. So hot, hot, hot. Anyway, so this is for a 1 gallon batch. Someone recommended using 4 cups of the blackberry juice per gallon. I think that might just be what's recommended on the bottle. I don't really remember. What are the apples? Pazaz and McIntosh. I think I chose those apples because I'd read that they were good for meads. Like they're a little bit more on the tart side, kind of a stronger flavored apple. I am using Lalvin K1V116 today. I've got a bag of Goferm, and then I've got the, what is it called? God, it's been a hot minute since I've made a mead. Opti-white. Yes, I have the Opti-white powder, which you add to fermentation, and it helps with some body and mouth feel in your meads. All right, I'm gonna get my yeast starter going. I'll put some Goferm in here. I'm just gonna use a half a packet. Okay, all right, I'm gonna pour the rest of this in. I've got well water, so that is what I use. Oh my God. It's like a balloon. Come on now. Deflate. There's so much air in here. All right, well, I've got 10 cups in here now. Shoot, I need some honey too though. So because I had 4 cups in here, I really hope all this fits. I'm doing this now and I'm like, oh my God, is it all gonna fit? All right, I need to melt this. I don't know if this happens to you all. This happens to me all the time, where I always feel like I'm prepared, but then I start making something and it turns out I'm like not prepared at all. So right now I'm adding my Goferm, which helps your yeast, protects them, bolsters them up, makes them stronger. Okay, 1.09 grams of Opti-white per gallon. All right, this is warm enough. Oh boy, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Is this going to fit? Yes, it is, though just barely. Living life on the edge, you know? So how I kind of figured out, you know, what I wanted to do here is that I took something that I had hanging around, right? I picked one specific ingredient, and then I just looked up on Google whatever complementary flavors would be to that thing. And usually you'll see like a nice list. You know, it's all like culinary stuff, but still, like quite often you'll find different herbs, other fruits, spices, things that would complement whatever ingredient you are researching. I think the only challenge here, because this is probably gonna be pretty strong blackberry, is how well the apple ends up coming through in the end. I'm not very good at like mathing ahead, you know? Like, oh yes, if I take this much water and I take this much juice and I take this much honey, my gravity shall be X, Y, and Z. Oh boy, it's floating already. Should be maybe not too strong. Stronger than what I've been making recently, certainly. Yeah, it's 1.114. All right, so my must is about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Get on in there, you slushy. There we go. So yeah, just continue watching this video. We'll see what happens. And we're back. It's been 2 months since I last touched this mead. I racked it and I stabilized it. Actually, it's been 3 months since I started this mead. Wow. You know, life. The next step here is almond paste. I've got the Amoretti blanched almond paste. I've used this one other time, and you know what I learned after using it on the, I think it's the fig pear almond mead, is that it doesn't really add a lot of like mouthfeel or anything. It's more in the aroma and a little bit in the flavor, but it really doesn't like add any kind of complexity. I was kind of shocked, to be honest, at how sort of flat the almond was. And so I had to do some other things to bolster that. I do want to taste this and see what this is like right now. I have something called Blanc Soft tannin. So I bought off of More Wine some individual tannins, you know what I mean? So just like a tannin blend. So this one is from gall nuts. It says at the start of fermentation, it actually prevents against oxidation, which is nice. But used during aging, it imparts mouthfeel and a perception of sweetness. I will have to wait at least 3 weeks before bottling, so I have to keep that in mind. I have this fear now from like, I had 2 meads horribly oxidized while I was in Texas, because I was gone for like a month and I hadn't touched the meads for a couple weeks, and then I didn't touch them again for a couple more weeks when I got home. Obviously not this last time, but the time before that a while ago. And so now I'm just terrified that all of my meads are oxidized. You know, it's very, very fruit forward, which is great. It's like berry on the nose. Love it. Berries on the nose. That is actually quite nice. Wow. All right, so the instructions on the packet says to mix between 0.2 and 0.6 per gallon. I have 0.37. I've never used this before, so I'm just guessing. I think this mead is actually quite clear, even though it's like so dark you can barely see through it. Really gotta make sure you close these things because air. Anyway, see y'all in a few seconds here. And here we are with the Blackberry Apple Almond Mead. This ended at about 15%, which is pretty high for me. Typically I like to go a little bit under that. On the nose, it smells quite lovely. Because the almond, like Amoretti Almond Paste at least, it's very nosy. If that makes sense. You tend to smell it a little bit more than you can taste it. And the flavor does tend to linger at the end, which we'll see here in a second. But I mean, it just smells like red. I don't know if that makes sense. It smells red. You just get that nice like blackberryness at the start, and then it kind of develops into the almondiness. It is quite smooth, considering the ABV. I'm just gonna start there. This does need more time, what do you know, to really like settle in. So this was very freshly bottled. So as it develops, it's gonna get really good, but right now, it's pretty good. I think this is a pretty solid combination. There is like a slight funkiness to it, but I know it's the almond because of the fig pear almond mead that I'd made. As it's been aging, the flavors, I should say, are really coming together, and it's aging very gracefully. So I know in the beginning, the almond can kind of come off as slightly odd, but then over the next couple of months, it's gonna be really nice. And I know apple also takes some time. You gotta let that malic acid kind of settle out. for at least a couple of months, I think, until it's like really nice and drinkable. But so far, this is aging quite well, I would say. I think this is a pretty solid combo. It's gonna be really nice. And the almond's not as potent in this as the fig pear almond. I'm not really sure why I put the same amount in. I might not have let this sit as long. It was also in a nut bag to contain the mess. So I think maybe like a fine mesh brewer's bag would be good, because the nut milk bags I think can be kind of hard to like penetrate, you know, to like sink in and pull flavor out of. So I would more like want like maybe double the brewer's bag next time. This is dulled down in comparison to the other mead. That being said, this level is still really good. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting product because it's not exactly cheap. I think it's like 15 something for 1 pound, and I used a half a pound for this. So I mean, that's kind of expensive. That's an expensive ingredient for 1 gallon of mead. Well, I'm excited to see how this one ages. I think it's gonna age very gracefully. This is actually it's really good as it is. And the tannin acid balance is really good. This is one that I would potentially send to a competition, I think, just to see how it would do. Because it is very well balanced. There's some good flavor in there. Oh no, I'm so bad at like talking about my meads, I feel like. Well, don't forget to check all the links in the description below. I've got a Patreon, I've got memberships, I have a website, which I haven't really updated in a while. But any support is welcome. Even just watching this video, if you like it or if you comment, that kind of interaction is really great for me and to get my stuff out there. So I appreciate anything and everything. Thank you for watching. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I will see you all next time. Bye. Bye.